my name is Parastu Imami, and I'm the host of The Road to Success for Your Highly Sensitive Child. This podcast is about empowering parents of highly sensitive children to nurture their child's unique personality trait and create a path to success. Our podcast provides guidance, insights, and support to help you unlock your child's full potential, fostering resilience, confidence, and a bright future. If you're new to my podcast, please go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 because they provide information on high sensitivity that all subsequent episodes will build upon. To book a private coaching session with me, please visit my website at parentinghsc.com. Today, I have a special guest, Lisa Chan, who is a child behavior expert and parenting coach with over a decade of experience as a pediatric occupational therapist. She specializes in helping parents navigate challenging behaviors using a holistic approach rooted in sensory integration, neuroscience, and child development. Lisa is passionate about empowering parents with practical strategies to support emotional regulation, executive functioning, and sensory needs in their children. Through her coaching, online resources, and social media content, she provides compassionate, evidence-based guidance to families looking for a real solution. I just recently actually moved out of my condo in San Francisco. I moved to Tiburon and into an apartment complex. It's beautiful. I never really intended to live in an apartment complex because I thought I was gonna, live in a home where I don't have anybody living under me or above me or anything like that, because I had experienced 10 leaks in my condo, and that's the reason that I had to move out. But living here exposes me to a lot of people. And I have a lot of highly sensitive people that I run into here, because highly sensitive people like nature, because they need that to calm their nervous system, because we have a very finely tuned nervous system. And so we seek places that has beauty all around us. And by beauty, I'm talking about nature. Like for example, right now it's raining like crazy, but normally when it's not raining, I can look out my balcony and there will be hummingbirds, there'll be like seagulls and seals and all kinds of animals that just fly by here, or like are swimming by here. It's beautiful. And so this is something that's very attractive to a highly sensitive person, because it helps with our nervous system. It's a very normal way, a natural way of your nervous system to completely and continuously calm down, because all I have to do is look outside. And, no matter what stresses are going on in my life, all I have to do is look out and instantaneously I'm like Zen again, And so that's the reason I run into a lot of highly sensitive people. I run into adults anywhere from 30 to 80 years old here who are highly sensitive, who have not learned to communicate, and instead they shut down. So you could have a conversation with them and you're thinking, I'm having a normal conversation with this person. Something I said triggers them. And instead of coming back and saying, hey, you said X, Y, and Z, and I took it as A, B, and C. Did you really mean to say that to me? Did you really mean to, what was the intention behind, instead of having a normal conversation, which adults should be able to have, especially by the time, come on, if you're 60, 70, 80, you need to have these skills. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be harsh, but you've got to have those skills by then, because otherwise, God, when are you going to have a peaceful life? All the time you're going to be miserable if you don't know how to communicate and resolve issues in a very nice, gentle, adult fashion. You can't be in adolescence forever, and that's what I see around me here. Not everybody, I'm not saying in general, I'm seeing, mostly people like that. No, it's just a few people, but this is what I'm painting a picture of. What if you don't teach your child these things, this is what your child might look like as an adult, whether they're 30, 60, 70, or 80 years old. If it's hard to learn when you're older, so why not teach your child at a young age how to communicate their needs, how to resolve conflict in a relationship, because they have it as a child. I mean, as a teenager, you have those conflicts. It's not like we only develop them as a child, as an adult. So it's so crucial. Like, I look at these people and I feel sad for them. They disappear for like a few weeks. Can you imagine what's going on with them? That 2, 3 weeks that they're isolating themselves because of a minor situation that could have been talked about and probably resolved in a matter of, maybe at the most an hour. I don't think anybody could, I really think you could solve even complex problems in less than an hour, if you know how to communicate and how to set the tone for that conversation, because you don't want to put somebody in the defensive, or you don't want to shut that person down, because people do shut down if you don't use the proper language and the proper way of speaking to them. Then you put them in the fight or flight mode, and they're not going to listen to you, and you're just wasting your time. And the hour could go on forever in that situation, because the person is already not engaged with you anymore. Right. But I'm talking about when you set the right stage, then I think you should be able to resolve anything, less than an hour, instead of hiding from the world for 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're teaching them the skills that they were never taught. And I think when we look at the adults who are still struggling with this, they were really never given a safe place or person that actually helped them to learn these skills.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when I see that's what fuels my desire to help parents today, because
Sure.
I can see, when I see an adult struggling,
Yes,
I see the small child within them, right? When you rewind them back into their childhood years, and you can see like the innocence that was struggling back then. And so now we're here in the present, and when I see children that are struggling, they're having difficulties with regulating their emotions, they're having difficulties with these different cognitive processes, or they're just feeling so intensely about things. And when the adults in the room don't know what to do to help them, that's where I feel it's my duty to really teach the adults in the room, the parents, the teachers, the educators, well, what's really going on with this child? Because this is the time to help them. Because if not now, well, then we are setting them up for struggle when they reach those teenage years. Like, those are hard. I work with a lot of families who have preteens, teens that are in a place where they're really struggling, because there's a lot going on too during that developmental stage. They're learning that they want to have their own autonomy too, but then they don't know how to handle their emotions at the same time. And to try to tackle things at that point in time, it's a lot more difficult than if you're realizing it now, when your child is still in primary school, even middle school. You have more kind of leverage in to actually get them to follow along and listen to you. So it's really important. Early intervention, that's the thing I really drill into parents, like early intervention. If you notice that there is a problem, that your child is struggling, you have to get help now, not tomorrow, now.
Yes.
Because it's all building blocks.
Absolutely. And like, you really hit the nail on the head when you said, you need to rewind and see that person, that adult, what did they struggle with as a child, and it's true. And it's heartbreaking. Even when I talk about these people that I see here, it really breaks my heart when I see them struggling as adults, because I'm thinking to myself, my God, how hard their life must be, because we're constantly being thrown into different situations that are challenging, right? So if we're struggling with coping with them or struggling to voice voice our thoughts, our feelings, our needs, then you're basically, that's the life that you're going to live for the rest of your life, and you're going to have that struggle for the rest of your life. And that's so sad to me, especially, being an empath. It really crushes, like, I feel the pain in my heart when I see these people, because I just, I know how hard it is because I've been there myself. I had a very hard childhood. My parents were not attuned to me. I didn't have self-confidence growing up. I had a lot of things that I had to overcome, a lot. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know, how to communicate my needs to people. These are all things I learned as an adult and late in my adult, right? Like I would say, for example, be having a very strong self-confidence. It's only been maybe, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 6 years that I have had this confidence level. So it takes a long time. If you don't teach your children things that they need to learn as a child, then they struggle like I did. And that's the reason that I do this for a living. That's the reason that I completely changed my career so that I could devote the rest of my life to helping parents set their children up for success in life, and so that they don't struggle like I did, so that they don't go through the pain and suffering that I went through. Because believe me, I'm a testament to that you do go through a lot of pain and suffering, a lot, and I mean, I'm grateful that I'm strong enough to help myself to go, okay, I don't want to struggle for the rest of my life. I don't want to live like my parents for the rest of my life. I want to get better. I want to live my life in a way where I'm happy and thriving and not just surviving. I don't want to be just surviving in this world. We live in a beautiful world. You want to be able to thrive in life, right? And that's what I hope to do when I work with parents. My desire is for their child to be set up for success in every aspect of their life. Because as a parent, you have the power to set your child up for success in life. You really do. The power is all in your hands as a parent. So why not? Why not help them learn
And I
these,
think,
you know?
yeah, and I think that's a really important message to parents is that you do have more power than you believe you do.
Yes.
So I think a lot of parents who are raising their kids with challenges, they feel that the diagnosis or that personality trait, it has more power over you. But
Yeah.
you are your child's best change agent. You are there to guide them in life. You're there to be their leader. And as much as it might feel sometimes to be like, I can just, my child will figure it out. They'll grow up, right? They'll go on your path and like, figure it out and in your adulthood. But really, you can see like the pain that adults who've gone through it, if they were to tell you, would it have been better if my parents just supported me? All of them would say absolutely yes. And so
Absolutely.
now we're talking here now to parents who are raising kids of highly sensitive children, autistic kids, ADHD kids, and it's really empowering you first to make you realize that you have so much power in changing the trajectory of your child. They
Absolutely.
can have a better future if you only just knew what was really going on and don't get so trapped in just the surface level behavior you're seeing and thinking that that has control over me. Go into the layers of it. I really that's one of like the first things I really do with parents is I help them to unpack all those layers and really go deep and help them go through this new thought process of asking yourself why is my child acting this way? Why is my child always running away from me whenever I ask them to take a bath? They're just being defiant. No.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? Are they sensitive to the water? Are they sensitive to the temperature of it? And that's why they're feeling so uncomfortable. They don't have the communication skills to actually tell you that. So they're just punching you, right? And all we see is the punching and the screaming. And we think my kid is just, out of control. But really, there's just so many different layers to it that parents really need to understand. And then when you can do that, you're now approaching it from a totally different way. Now you see from a sensory lens, my child's actually sensitive to the water. How can I help them become more comfortable? Of course, bath time is still a must. We all got a bath. So we're still going to get them there. But you don't want to continue forcefully pulling. I think that's one of the things that parents kind of feel ends up happening is when you have a sensitive child, like when we're talking more like they're physically sensitive to something, that you have to force them to do it. You got to like yank them at the arm, pull them, throw them in the bath, scrub them down with them yelling and screaming. But what this ends up doing is it creates a very toxic relationship, right? Child starts to think, every time it's bath time, I know my parent is going to do this to me. So they start screaming, and then your stress levels rise, and all you feel is clash battles and walking on eggshells in your home. But we can avoid that. We can really, it comes with that shift. Recognize my child's not being defiant for the sake of being defiant. They're actually struggling from a sensory lens. How can we support them? How can we make this experience more comfortable for them so that they can actually start enjoying it? Or maybe they won't really enjoy it, but at least how can we get them to cooperate with us where it doesn't feel like we're both pulling at each other? Because then this has ramifications on your entire family, on the relationship you have. Like if that's the situation with your child, I can only imagine the amount of stress that you're having. And then you're naturally going to take that out on your spouse. And then you're likely having marital conflicts over that because you're stressed and snapping at them because you're stressed out about your kid. Maybe you have other kids, your child's other siblings, and you're not able to be as attentive to them because you're so hyper focused on trying to get just the simple to-dos with your one child. So then your relationship starts breaking away from your other children. And what does that do? All it does, it's pulling the family further and further apart.
Exactly.
And then families become dysfunctional that way. And then you kind of realize like years down the line, you're like, well, how did we even get here? Like, how are we even like this? And now you got teenagers that feel estranged to you. Maybe now they're becoming young adults and they never want to come home. It's like Christmas and it's like, I don't care. I don't want to come home. Of course not, because if that's been the tension that's been there since childhood, your adult children won't want to come back. So how do we avoid that? We avoid that by really bringing more understanding within each individual person in the family. And specifically with the child that has the challenges, really getting to know them. That's important. And parents need to realize like you have to put in that time and effort. Like it's not just something that you don't have to try. Because I know like a lot of families who have multiple kids and they tell me, I have 3 kids. My oldest 2, they were easy. I don't have to do anything. Like they just like figured it all out. My third child, man, they really are making me making my hair turn gray. Well, it's realizing, you got to shift. You got to understand your child is different and you have to approach them differently. You cannot treat them the same way you did your first 2. And you have to give them that attention that is going to feel like a lot more, but that's who they are and that's what they need. At the end of the day, it's like we are the parents. We decided to bring our children into this world. It is our responsibility to give them what it is that they need. And it's not about shaping them into who we want them to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you are not attuned to your child, if you don't give them what it is that they need, you're causing trauma after trauma after trauma. So that child is it's going to be even harder as they're aging. It's not going to get any easier. It's going to get even harder for you as a parent. So it's best for you to early on, as early as possible, learn about your child. I mean, in my case, as high sensitivity, the children show that even in the womb, the mom will know that she has a highly sensitive child if she knows about high sensitivity, because even in the womb, the child will react. For example, one of my clients said, when I was pregnant, and if I went somewhere that was loud, my child would kick so hard that I actually would have, like, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I realized that it happens every time I'm in a noisy environment. So then I learned never to go in a noisy environment. Like if I went somewhere that was noisy, then I would, as quickly as possible, leave that area. So my point is you can't even tell when your child is in your womb. So it's best for you to really learn about high sensitivity if you don't already know what it is, and figure out what your child is highly sensitive to, because not every child is different. Even if they're highly sensitive, every child is different. And so it's really up to you to learn what is unique about your child. And then the other thing is that I really want to encourage parents to figure out, yes, you can, the hardships are easy, excuse me, easy to identify, right? Because they're in your face and they show up loudly. But the strengths of your children is very important. When you concentrate on the strengths that your child has, then those things that are challenges become less prominent for you, because it's what you put your focus on grows, right? Everybody knows that. We've heard this from many, many gurus, Wayne Dyer, anybody that you follow, Louise Hay, all these people that are all about coaching and guiding talk about whatever we put our focus on will grow. So why not put your focus on the beauty that your child has? Why not focus on all their strengths? Because believe me, they have a lot of strengths if you put your mind to it. And if you start writing down because I do this with my clients, I have them write down what are the strengths of their children, because a lot of times when we're highly sensitive, we focus on our weaknesses because we're such a perfectionist. We want to get rid of our weaknesses. And instead of thinking that you need to be a perfectionist, because that's not a healthy way of living, what you want to do is teach your child, they're going to want to be a perfectionist because that's how this is a part of this personality trait. But you can definitely teach your child, hey, it's not such a great idea to be a perfectionist. It really sets you up for failure in life. But how about we focus on all your strengths instead? So then sit down with the child, depending on their age, sit down with the child and write down all their strengths, and so that you as a parent see the strengths, of course, but also your child starts focusing on their strengths instead of their weaknesses. And the more you focus on the strengths and even figure out of those strengths, which are their superpowers, which are the things that they were inherently born with, not the skills that they acquired as they're growing, but the strengths and skills that were that is inherent in them. They were born with it. Focus on those and see if there are any superpowers among those strengths that you could really hone in on, so that you build your confidence for your child and also for yourself. You see that your child is not all this negative things that you're seeing, right? Yes. And when you see the positive in your child and you hone in on the positive, you will see more positive in them too. And it will help you kind of calm down in a way when they do show up in a way that is challenging, then you kind of go, okay, it's okay. We can handle these challenges because look, my child has so many beautiful traits, so many beautiful skills, strengths. So this is okay that they have these few things that we can work through, and they're all things that you could work through. None of it is something that has no solution. There's always a solution to all these challenges that present themselves to you. But you just have to have the knowledge and the skills and the tools to know how to handle those challenges. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you that you have the power to create a bright and successful future for your highly sensitive child. Embrace their uniqueness, nurture their strengths, and provide them with the love and support they need. Together, we can pave a path to success that aligns with their sensitivity. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We'll be here with more insights and inspiration in our next episode. Until then, keep believing in your child's potential because they truly are extraordinary. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and stay committed to setting your child up for success in life. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please leave a review, share with other parents, and reach out to us with any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. To book a private coaching session with me, please visit my website at parentinghsc.com.